Okay guys, I'm going to give you a rough introduction into how to draw isometric projection, the ideas behind it for your homework. The idea behind isometric is that you represent the verticals of the product going vertical, and then you represent the perspective following either the left or the right line, which is at 30 degrees to the horizontal of the page. So for example, if we're going to draw a cube, the verticals would stay vertical, and then the depth of perspective going on the right hand side follows those lines, and on the left hand side follows those lines, and therefore vertical stay vertical. It's very easy to draw geometric shapes. The other idea behind it is that you can use a scale so other people can measure off of your drawing, and so you can work out, for example, the distance between here. You could say, okay, that's 21 millimeters to scale or whatever on your product, and then someone else could measure it and work out how big your product is, because of course when you start using perspective and things start getting smaller as they get further away, it's really hard to measure the verticals, because they're actually different sizes on the drawing. Anyway, look, without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, this is my phone. I'm going to do a little drawing of my phone up here. What I'm going to do is, it's going to be a really rough drawing so that I don't have to keep on measuring. I just get all my measuring sorted out. There we go. I got 137 mil, effectively in height. I think you might have this actually from your previous project. I've got 66 in width. The button is 10, and the button is, I reckon, about 4 from the bottom. Screen wise, screen starts at 18 from the bottom, and 16 from the top. I need to also include, or you need to also include, all the detail in regards to the buttons and the ports that you have on the phone. Of course, you've got the speaker, and you've got whatever this thing is, infrared maybe. I want all of that information detailed on your drawing so that you can label it with your inputs and outputs. But let's get cracking on the actual drawing of the rough shape. That's what I'm going to show you today. I would go slightly left of middle, so about here, and I would count up about 6 triangles. You can see the verticals of the triangle. I'm going to count up about 6 triangles, and then I'm going to put a little dot. Okay. The one thing I've not measured on this is the depth, or I suppose you'd say the height of the phone, and I think that's 7 mil. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start by measuring down 7. That's going to be the height of the product. Okay, I'm going to be drawing it like, let me try and get it correctly in the, like that, but using isometric projection. So you can see presently I'm sort of like at the top, I can't touch it, the top here. I need to go down 7 mil to the bottom to signify the depth. Then I need to draw a line going left and a line going right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to join those up to form a rectangle, and then I'm going to project 7 down from this side, 7 down from that side, and then I'm going to join everything up to form effectively my cuboid, or they also call it a crate in drawing. So, following the isometric lines, or drawing a line parallel to the isometric lines, the right and the left isometric lines, I'm going to begin by producing this V. Then I'm going to go 137 to the right, 137 to the right, and I'm going to go 66 to the left. Once I've done that, I've got to draw my next line, which has to go parallel, because I'm not exactly on one of my isometric triangular lines, so I draw a line parallel to the existing lines. And also on here, draw it so it's parallel. And now what you can see is I've created my rectangle. I suppose it's a rhombus in actual fact. My verticals stay vertical, so when you draw them in, make sure you're drawing them again parallel to those isometric vertical lines, and then measure from that intersection 7, I've done this one already, 7 and 7, and then draw those up, and just make sure when you join them up again those lines are parallel. Now what we have is we have an isometric technical drawing or shape which is the same size as the phone. Great. Next up, what am I doing? Well, I've got to get the position of that button. That button is going to be halfway. So half of 66 is 33. Once I've put a mark in there, I can follow the isometric lines. And I said it was 4 was the gap, and then there was 10 was the diameter, so that's 9. So the middle of my button is going to be located here, and my button is going to be 10 in diameter, so I can begin. Circles are always challenging to draw, especially using isometric, but it's something like that. Okay, and then I've got to draw my screen in, which is 18 from the bottom and 16 from the top, making sure that I'm running parallel. Right, I'm not going to do all this because you're just going to copy me, so I'm going to let you make some decisions from here. But the final thing I'm going to show you is the curved corners. You can really begin to see that shape, which is that sort of shape. Yeah, you can sort of see it's similar. The curved corners, what you need to do is work out the radius of the curve. So I'm going to measure from here to where the curve ends, which is about 1 centimetre. So your curve wants to begin and end about 1 centimetre in from each corner. So I'm going to mark those in. And you know, it doesn't have to be exact, guys. It is, you know, quick homework. Try and be as accurate as possible. You might want to move the page for this, but what I would do is I wouldn't draw straight away, and make sure your hand is comfortable, it knows where it's going, and once you've what I call ghosted that in a few times, it's at that point that you actually put the pencil on the paper and draw. So the top, once you've done that and you can see that we've drawn those nice curves, you want to be drawing verticals from the edges of those curves, because of course this bit doesn't actually exist on the phone, and then you want to be mimicking what goes above on that line which is giving the height. Okay, so this is a good demonstration that we need to draw a curve directly like the one above, below. Okay, so we can see that iPhone or whatever phone you have starting to come to life. Again, I want everything on there. Once you've done that, guys, what I would suggest is around the outside, you increase the density of the line, but only on the outside, not in the middle. And so those outside lines are really quite dense and dark. And that's what's called thick, thin line technique. And it gives the drawing a lot more presence. You might even want to get a slightly blunter pencil and a dark pencil, so something like an HB or, well, an HB I would say, just so you have a nice dark line going around the edge. But that is the sort of thing we're looking for. When you annotate, of course, what you want to be doing is you want to be writing what each one of the inputs and outputs is, and so we know. And that'll be a great homework that needs to be uploaded to your team. Okay, guys, so that is the isometric drawing homework 3, challenge 5, marked out of 5. Have a look at the marking criteria down here. You get 3 points for the actual drawing, and you get 2 points for the annotation. All right, great.